Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Grow the Earth. I'm Tommy. We're back out here in the garden, and today we're going to talk about trellising. Now, if you watched my channel before, you saw where I've made this trellis, or actually these couples of trellises here. They're a very inexpensive and easy way to trellis things. What we have here is a sugar baby watermelon. Now these are going to be like your almost personal size. They're only going to get about 4 or 5 pounds, but the problem comes in where hanging off of this trellis that they actually become too heavy to support themselves. So today what I'm going to show you is how we're going to support these fruits to make sure that they come to full ripening before they fall off from their own weight. I was actually a little late on making this video because I had a couple more that were actually on the front side of this trellis here that ended up falling off because they got too heavy. And we didn't trellis them fast enough, and the actual stem of the watermelon actually broke before they were ready. My chickens got a real nice snack out of it, but I didn't get to eat it, nor did my wife and my kids, and it was kind of upsetting. So this was a video that I promised you, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link probably right above my head to where we made this trellis. And I talked about in that video that I was going to revisit this whenever I started having fruits, so that's where this video comes from. So in order to start out with, there's one thing that we need to make sure of, and that is that our main stem of our fruit is not actually hanging against one of these crossbars. That was also part of the problem with the two that were up there, is the stem of the fruit was actually sitting right on one of the crossbars, and that was where it was actually focusing all of that weight of that fruit was right there at that stem, and it caused it to break. So I'm going to go get our supplies, and then I'll be back here in just a moment. So now I'm going to show you a cheap way to support these fruits, and that is going to be with a pair of pantyhose. Now, I had actually seen where people had used, and I mentioned it in the other video about using, cut up t-shirts or whatever material you could find to support it. But the only problem I can see with that would be that the material of like a t-shirt or something may cause it to hang on to water, and it would actually mold and maybe harm the fruit. Where this is sheer enough to where the water is going to evaporate out of it fast enough to where I don't think we're going to deal with that issue. So I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. That way I can really show you what we're going to do here, and make sure that you guys get the full experience. Alright guys, so here we have one of our fruits right here, and as you can see, it's not hanging, it's actually hanging by the vine. Well, these fruits are going to get 4 or 5 pounds, so they're not going to actually be able to support themselves. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these pantyhose with a pair of sharp scissors, and we're just going to kind of measure off about how much we're going to need to support it. And we're going to clip off this with a nice pair of sharp scissors, because as much as women complain about that these guys get runs in them all the time, they seem to be fairly resistant to being cut. I've done this once before on a test run. I want to tell you what, these things do not cut and tear as easily as you would think, the way that women talk about these things. All right, so now if you've got a pair of those pantyhose like that have got that are the full length pantyhose, you'll actually get a couple of different uses out of those on trellising up these fruits. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different than what you may have seen some other places. And actually right here in the center is I'm going to cut a slit in here to actually be able to put this little fruit through, to where as it grows, it will, the pantyhose will accommodate it. Now this is, I'm sure there's more expensive ways to do it. I'm sure there's some kind of something or other that you can find on Amazon or whatnot, but I'm a working man and I don't always have money for extra things like that, so these were just a pair of pantyhose that the wife had left over from when she used to work in a business office, and she wasn't using them anymore, so we're going to use them for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to reach over here and we're just going to tie this off to there. Let me find my little hole here. We're going to put our little fruit in here. Put our fruit in our pantyhose. And the unintended consequence of this is that you're not going to have to worry about, pests trying to get in here to hang up with your fruit. Now, as this fruit gets heavier and grows, this is going to act as a support system for it. And of course, as always, if you see that it's getting heavier and then it's not getting the support that it needs, then you can kind of come in here and tighten this little guy up, and that way it'll have plenty of support. It'll give it a little bit of stretch so that it'll move around. And voila! Now your fruit is going to continue to grow, and as it grows, it's going to be supported. That way it doesn't have all that weight on this vine right here, which is going to cause you an issue later. And we've done it for less than $1 or $2. And if your wife didn't work in a business setting, or if say you're a woman and you've never had any use for pantyhose, just run down to your local Walmart or your department store, wherever you would find these. I believe that you can even find some of these at your local dollar store or something like that. And get your full length size that are actually go up to the waist, because right here we've got another length of it. You can get a couple of lengths out of the legs for supports, and even these up here that go up to the waist, you can split these in half and make little hammocks out of them. The larger they are, the more that you're going to be able to get out of them, and they pretty much all cost the same. So why buy a small one? You can buy an extra large or whatever it may be, so that you can get some extra use out of it. This also reminds me of as Christians, we're supposed to gather with others to talk about God, right? We're supposed to congregate with other people. Now, whether that may be in a church, or maybe that's in a home of one of your friends, or whatever it may be, when we congregate with those people, then we can be a support system, right? We can be supported. And we're supposed to do this because, just like this sugar baby watermelon, whenever we're left to do it alone, sometimes our vine isn't strong enough to support our fruit. And if we have someone else who is coming alongside us and is being our support system, whether it be friends or family or just acquaintances that that you've run into, if they can be your support system, then they can make sure that your fruit comes to fruition, and you don't have your fruit being ripped off the vine because it's just too heavy for you to bear. As always, I ask you to pray over your garden, pray over your family, and have a great day.